Imagine a floating city the size of 60 football fields. Now imagine it can launch fighter jets every 45 seconds, not with steam or explosions, but with pure magnetic force. It sounds like science fiction, but China just put it in the water, and every navy on Earth is watching closely. This is the Fujian, an 80,000-ton aircraft carrier that took China 8 years to build. That's the weight of more than 500 fully loaded Boeing 747s on a platform the length of 3 soccer fields. What sets Fujian apart is its launch system. Instead of old steam catapults, it uses electromagnetic launch technology. The same breakthrough the US spent 20 years and over $13 billion developing. China now has that capability too. The Fujian marks a shift in China's naval ambitions, showing it can field carriers with cutting-edge launch tech once limited to the US. And the strategic implications reach far beyond the South China Sea. Most aircraft carriers still launch planes using steam catapults, giant high-pressure slingshots developed during World War II. They work, but they are heavy, maintenance-intensive, and mechanically complex. Steam also can't adjust power precisely. Light aircraft get launched harder than they should, stressing their airframes, while heavier planes sometimes struggle to get the perfect push for takeoff. The Fujian breaks from that entire system. It uses EMALS, the electromagnetic aircraft launch system. Think of the magnetic levitation trains in Japan or China. Now apply that same principle to an aircraft carrier. Linear motors built into the deck generate a controlled magnetic wave that accelerates a 30-ton fighter jet from 0 to 170 miles per hour in under 2 seconds. A shuttle attached to the aircraft rides that magnetic pulse down the deck. The power is smooth, fully adjustable, and far more efficient. Light drones can launch at low force. Heavy fighters loaded with fuel and missiles get maximum power. Wear and tear on aircraft drops dramatically. EMALS also boosts launch tempo. Where a steam carrier launches one plane every 2 minutes, the Fujian could do it roughly every 45 seconds, a massive advantage in combat operations. China's first 2 carriers, the Liaoning and Shandong, use ski jump ramps. They're reliable but heavily limited. Aircraft can't take off with full fuel or weapons, drastically reducing range and strike capability. Heavier aircraft, early warning planes, refueling tankers, large drones, simply can't launch from a ski jump at all. Fujian changes that. Its catapults allow China to field a fully modern, multi-role carrier air wing with fully loaded fighters, airborne early warning aircraft, electronic warfare planes, large combat drones. And here's the big benchmark. The Fujian has 3 catapults. America's newest carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, has 4. That puts China at roughly 75% of US launch capacity, a huge leap from the ski jump era just a few years ago. The capability gap is closing fast. For decades, China's Navy focused on defending its coastline. The strategy was simple: keep enemies away from Chinese shores. But China's economy grew. Its trade routes expanded. Today, 80% of China's oil imports pass through the Strait of Malacca, a narrow waterway between Malaysia and Indonesia. Chinese goods travel to Africa, Europe, and South America on container ships that cross oceans. And China has territorial disputes with multiple neighbors in the South China Sea. To protect these interests, China needs a navy that can operate far from home. That requires aircraft carriers. Fujian represents the 3rd generation of China's carrier program. Each generation leaps forward in capability. The Liaoning was a Soviet-era hull that China bought from Ukraine, refurbished and learned from. The Shandong was China's first domestically built carrier, but it copied much of the Liaoning's design. Fujian is different. It's larger, more modern, and built with completely indigenous technology. China designed the hull, the propulsion system, the radar arrays, and yes, the electromagnetic catapults, all of it. China now operates 3 carriers. By 2030, they are expected to have 5 or 6. The United States has 11 supercarriers, but here's the catch. American carriers are spread across the entire world: the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Middle East. At any given moment, several are in maintenance. China's carriers will operate primarily in one region, the Indo-Pacific. That concentration of force matters. Let's talk about cost. Building the Fujian likely cost China between $6 and $8 billion. That's a huge number. But compare it to the USS Gerald R. Ford, which cost $13 billion. China is achieving roughly 80% of America's capability at roughly 60% of the cost. And they're building faster. The Fujian went from initial construction to launch in about 8 years. That's rapid for a ship this complex. China's shipbuilding industry is the largest in the world. They build more commercial ships than any other country. That infrastructure translates directly to military shipbuilding speed. The Fujian is a powerful new instrument in one of the world's most contested regions. China claims almost the entire South China Sea using historical maps. while the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei maintain overlapping claims. At the same time, the United States regularly sails warships through the area under freedom of navigation missions. A carrier like the Fujian shifts the balance. It gives China air cover for its ships and island bases. It enables long-range patrols hundreds of miles from the mainland, and it signals to nearby nations that China can deploy naval power anywhere in the region at short notice. Taiwan is watching closely, Japan is watching, and so is every country that relies on these shipping lanes for global trade. The electromagnetic catapult system represents one of the most advanced technologies ever placed on a carrier deck. The United States spent 2 decades developing emails through General Atomics, facing technical delays and redesigns before it became reliable. China took a different path. For years, it invested heavily in electromagnetic research across universities, state labs, and defense contractors. Rear Admiral Ma Weiming, a leading engineer within the PLA Naval University of Engineering, oversaw the program. His team published research, built prototypes, and tested land-based systems long before Fujian's construction. This was a long, coordinated national effort. Beyond carriers, China has deep experience with electromagnetic systems through its maglev rail development. High-speed magnetic levitation gave Chinese engineers real-world expertise in accelerating heavy objects with electromagnetic force, providing a strong foundation for adapting the technology to naval use. Western intelligence agencies have raised concerns about espionage contributing to China's progress. These allegations exist, but they don't erase China's large research capacity or sustained investment. The most realistic explanation is a combination of domestic innovation, lessons from publicly available US data, and possibly some illicit insight. Whatever the mix, China now fields a working electromagnetic catapult, and that has strategic consequences. Fujian is undergoing sea trials, a process that usually takes 1 to 2 years. Crews must train, systems must be tested under real conditions, and inevitable problems need fixing. But China is already moving ahead. Satellite imagery and intelligence reports indicate work has begun on a 4th carrier. Analysts believe it may incorporate lessons from the Fujian and could potentially be nuclear-powered, offering far greater range and endurance. China is also developing new carrier aircraft. The current J-15 is based on older Russian designs, but the newer FC-31, often called the J-35, is being adapted for carrier operations. If successful, China would join the US as the only nation operating stealth fighters from aircraft carriers. Carrier-based drones are another major frontier, with prototypes intended for reconnaissance, refueling, electronic warfare, and strike missions. Their operational status remains unclear, but the direction is obvious. The United States still holds major advantages: decades of combat experience, global bases, advanced logistics, and nuclear-powered carriers with unmatched range. The Ford class remains the most capable carrier fleet in the world, but the gap is narrowing. China's rapid shipbuilding, centralized decision-making, and long-term planning allow it to advance quickly. Both nations are accelerating development, and both understand what's at stake. The real challenge ahead is managing this competition without letting it escalate into something far more dangerous. Fujian signals a major shift in global naval power. For centuries, Western nations controlled the oceans. First Britain, then the United States. China is now positioning itself as the next major maritime power, and that message is being felt across Asia. Countries in the region are reassessing their security strategies. The Philippines strengthens cooperation with the US. Vietnam looks toward Russian hardware. Indonesia expands its naval ambitions. These choices shape alliances, trade agreements, and diplomatic leverage. A Chinese carrier group operating in the South China Sea influences negotiations over fishing rights, oil exploration zones, and the shipping routes that carry trillions of dollars in goods each year. China's naval expansion generates enormous industrial demand: steel, electronics, propulsion systems, advanced materials, and a skilled workforce to build them. Shipyards grow, research institutions gain funding, and a full naval engineering ecosystem takes shape. But expansion also has costs. Every yuan spent on the Fujian is a yuan not invested in civilian needs, such as healthcare, education, or urban development. China's economy is slowing, the real estate sector faces severe strain, and local governments carry growing debt. Yet military spending continues to rise. This creates tension inside China. Citizens see new warships entering service while personal finances weaken. The government argues national security is essential, but the sustainability of this argument depends heavily on economic performance. Fujian also changes the strategic equation around Taiwan. Beijing views Taiwan as part of China. Taiwan views itself as sovereign. The United States promises to help Taiwan defend itself, but keeps the exact nature of its commitment deliberately unclear. A carrier like Fujian expands China's options. It can enforce a blockade, provide air cover for amphibious forces, or conduct sustained air operations around the island. Even without firing a shot, its presence alters the psychological and military balance. Taiwan is responding by strengthening its defenses, acquiring anti-ship missiles, improving early warning systems, and developing asymmetric tactics designed to counter a larger navy. But the balance of power continues to shift. Each new Chinese carrier increases pressure on Taiwan, and as regional military capabilities grow, so does the risk of miscalculation. One incident, one misunderstanding, one moment of escalation, triggering a wider crisis. The Fujian is in the water, moving toward full operation, and China is already working on the next carrier. This moment signals more than new hardware. It marks a shift in the balance of global power. For 75 years, the US. The Navy shaped the world's oceans, secured trade routes, and maintained stability. Now, that system faces a direct challenge. What happens when two superpowers operate cutting-edge carriers in the same disputed waters? What happens when both sides race to close the remaining technology gap? And what happens when the margin for error becomes razor-thin? The Fujian offers the first glimpse of a new era at sea. The real question is simple: are we ready for what comes next? If you think China's new carrier is a leap forward, wait until you see what they're building on land. A train so fast it could outrun airplanes using technology the world once thought impossible. Click watch next to see that video.